Hello there. Well, now I never seem to give you enough time to miss me, but I had some interesting thoughts because well, I went to sleep around 9 o'clock and woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning and got violently ill. Watched a TV show on Netflix called You, just YOU, and it got me thinking about perspective and rationalization and whatnot because it's from a point of view of a mentally ill person who's engaging in criminal activity, but he seems to have reasons for doing all these things, you know. So basically, the question that I started asking myself while I was watching this series and am I the one that's crazy? You know, is I understand that I'm in the I've been taking benzos now for I would guesstimate around 5 years. I've been trying to taper since March 18th, and I'm on a 30% or a 33% volume taper right now. And so, really, what is going on with me that, how is this affecting all my relationships? Is it a form of insanity almost to be in that withdrawal state? Besides all the physical suffering involved and the bizarre symptoms? Um, or is it a matter of my expectations? Because I'm expecting things to go down a certain way and they just don't go down that way. I'm expecting a reality that doesn't exist. Like when, I figure like, the guy bought a boat off my dad, is working on the boat and encourages me to buy a boat. I kind of expect us to be out on the boat. It never happens. Not in 10 years. So, I mean, some of the stuff's irrefutable. Like, uh, I don't have the benefit of a psychiatrist. I see a psychiatric nurse. He's the guy that's got the power of the pen and prescribes the volume for me. And then I see psychologists, and I have a caseworker. I don't know if what psychology degrees he has, but you know, uh, so I don't really, I kind of act like my own psychiatrist, which they say a person who defends himself has a fool for a lawyer. Maybe a person that analyzes himself has an idiot for a psychiatrist. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm starting to think about this like, uh, I know that I've changed and I just, I know a lot of my problems was expecting things from people and then them not meeting my expectations. And it looked like this person was going to be a member of the family, and then he confided some embarrassing and like heavy stuff to me. And then I was just flailing about after 12, 27, 17, when I had my soul crushed. And that was like literally the low point in my life. That's when I discovered hate. That's when I felt the most lost. And, I've had spinal tumors removed, spinal reconstruction, CRPS, having to learn how to walk. I mean, I had a lot of stuff, and that was the low point. So I'm just flailing about looking for some kind of like support, assistance, you know. And so naturally, I think, well, like this guy will reciprocate. I start talking to him. And he basically is like telling me like I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm tired of repeating myself. He's like the thing that I remembered was he said you can't expect people to behave the way you want them to. And it's like okay, that's a lot of my problem is like I expect a certain level of ethical moral behavior out of people. You know, um, I don't want to sound like an egotist, but I expect him to be like me. In other words, when that guy dumped his crap on me and I was supportive and stuff, I expected the same, especially considering the circumstances. And, it was dumb of me because the guy had only been alive for 34 years. So, how is the concept of supporting somebody for 30 years and then getting betrayed by him going to mean anything to somebody that's 34 years old? So, you know, um, at the time I was, I don't know, 15 years older than him. Um, But I thought he was gonna be part of the family, and I liked the guy, and I wanted to be friends with him. And I'm like, well, I don't have TV, so it actually cost me some money because my expectations cost me some money because I bought Dish TV, and it happened a few times where he'd come out and hang out. He liked baseball, and he liked to watch the Cavs when they had LeBron James and all that. So that's the question that I'm asking myself is like, how much of this is my craziness? And I don't know, like, I'm trying to talk faster to make this a nice, short, concise video. Um, but sometimes that's not necessarily a good thing. But, some of that stuff is irrefutably nuts. It's like, it's not me. It can't be me. If I got somebody that don't even live in this apartment sticking his nose in my business, calling the landlord, making an appointment, and the landlord's willing to make an appointment behind my back to have people come in my bedroom where I spend all my damn time. Then I got to leave the bedroom and I end up breaking my toes. And the craziness of that's not my crazy. That's the dysfunctional craziness of this building. When I was talking to my sister on the phone, waiting for a doctor's call at any moment with a rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis, and she hangs up on me, and I'm like, call her back and say, did we get disconnected, or did you hang up on me? She goes, no, I hung up on you because you weren't letting me talk. You weren't letting me talk. And I was like, okay, but this really isn't about you. You're not waiting on a rheumatoid arthritis, and you're not having problems walking. I'm thinking to myself, but when I told that to a psychologist lady that was about my age, her jaw literally dropped I was like, okay, not the crazy one there, because, she's like shocked. That wasn't put on for my benefit. I'm sure it's not an attractive thing, you know. And she was, like I said, around my age. She wasn't no 25-year-old kid like the other psychologist that I talked to. So, yeah, there's some of the stuff I know I'm not the crazy one. Okay, that this is just messed up stuff. I can report to you the facts of my life, and you can look at it and you can be like, well, make your own decisions about, like, you're kind of, or like those people are kind of, but, yeah, um, I know my landlord's freaking delusional because he wants to bring his kids around me. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I was like, well, I got the rent together and I can pay you. This was last Friday. I'm sorry about this. My nose really is itching me crazy. But he wants to come by late. I get up at 1:48 a.m. and I'm like, he wants to come by like 6 o'clock in the evening or something like that and drop off Christmas cookies. You know, I'm not really interested in your Christmas cookies that are paid for by crack and meth sales, okay? Not really interested. I don't want your damn cookies. Um, so I told him, like, I'm just going to tape the rent for 2 months, $850 in an envelope on the door. Just let yourself in, get the envelope. And I guess he didn't leave me no receipts this time. He left me the cookies as a receipt. And then later, I'm like, I had trouble going to sleep, even though I got up at 1:48. I figured I'd go to sleep, but like get sleep around 4 o'clock or something like that. But I didn't hear him or nothing like that. But I go to sleep later, and I had a conversation with my brother who's got the furnace trouble, and he was like, "Oh, I don't need that money. I want to borrow off you until Monday." So I'm like, okay, you know. And then I'm out cold, like I'm in the deep sleep. I'm not in the REM sleep. And the phone rings. I don't even know how I woke up. I'm like, oh. And they're like, what? And I'm like, what? And they're like, he sent somebody over, I guess, to pick up that money that he told me previously was going to get Monday. So I'm like, yeah, that's great timing on that. So I stagger out, make sure I don't fall down, and count out the money and put it on top of the crack and meth funded cookies, and in this little tray. And it's like, person showed up and picked up the money. I'm gonna turn this off. So I know that guy is wacky because, why is he thinking he's going to make up to me at all? I mean, I threw the guy out of his own property with murder in my eyes. I wrote him all his lists of all his sins down. I called him a scumbag, a slumlord, a guy who takes blood money and doesn't care where he gets his money, whether it's off of crack or meth sales. Don't care who he rents to. And didn't even protect his dad from picking through junky car. I spelled all that shit out for him. He's so nuts. He's gonna bring his kids around me, and I felt like, well, yeah, bring him on over, And I'm like, hey, kid, you know that your dad pays for these cookies with meth and crack rent money? Because we got a full blown. We had both crack business and a meth business out of this building, I'm sure he runs a lot of his properties the same way as he runs that, you know. But then, like, they're just innocents, and I don't remember how old they were, but the one kid's really big, but he's like 15, 16, and you know, let them have their illusions about their father and be rich kids, and, maybe they'll be nice people. I don't know. He's got like two sons and a daughter. And so I know that guy is crackers if he wants to bring his kids around me. And he's crackers. It's like a ritual with him where his wife makes cookies and he goes around to all his properties and passes out Christmas cookies to all the meth and crackheads. And I wonder if he's packing heat. And he's got his Kimber, which is in a holster right here. Um, when he does that, Merry Christmas or Bang Bang. Yeah. But yeah, some of that stuff, like, I know it's not me, but some of the other stuff, it's like these people just haven't changed. You can't expect people to change, and you can't expect people to alter their behavior just because you're going through like horrible time in your life, and you're going through a benzo withdrawal. Really, what it is the benzo withdrawal like takes the gauze or the edge or the Vaseline off the lens, and you're like, man, I can't put up with this bullshit, you know. And before, it's like, you let people be people, They're wacky, let them be wacky, you know. But then, you know, I've never had any illusions about my own sanity, and I'm pretty good at logic, and I seem pretty reasonable and sane, and but yeah, that show got me to thinking, and I got to thinking about the old Rod Serling perspective shift. You know, one of the more famous ones where there's a beautiful woman, and these people were like, I don't know if they had masks on or what the deal was, but their faces were all messed up, and she had just landed on this planet or island or something where everybody was all disfigured, and they thought she was disfigured, even though she was beautiful by our standards. And they're like, you know, we're gonna fix you up and make you ugly like us, you know. So yeah, am I the ugly one or the pretty one? You know what I mean? So I did a run through on this, and this is actually a second take, which I rarely do. Um, but yeah, it's it's a rough night, man. I mean, I woke up violently ill, which I'll spare you, and then I had a lot of introspection and watched a. It's a show I would recommend. It's called You on Netflix, and just binge watched the whole thing, the whole series, and I got to thinking about like how cold blooded was that? Was that cold blooded what I did? Where I was like the guy remembered my birthday, and I was like, why would I want to talk to you or see anyone in your household? It just costs me my money and my health, you know. And do you remember what I was like when I moved in here? Do you know what I'm like now? You know, it's like not all that is their fault, but if I don't move to Maslin, I never get introduced to benzodiazepine dependence. I never. They believe in better living through chemistry, if you know what I'm saying, in general. And so, yeah. Um, then I look at my own life and I'm like, well, a lot of the behaviors that I was doing was very unhealthy, and they really didn't have anything to do with anybody. Um, and I can use the excuse of, my mother's protracted illness before she died, and then my parents' death in 2015 or whatever, and me not dealing with it well and trying to escape from it. And, but, you know, so, yeah, that was the basic gist of it. Am I the crazy one? You know, it's like, there's something else in there that I had thrown in the original 50 odd minute take of this. Um, but yeah, I usually don't question myself as far as like, it's probably not a good idea. Was it Henry David Thoreau who said the unexamined life isn't worth living? It's probably not a bad idea. It's bad to second guess yourself all the time, but some of the time it's probably pretty good. And if you're in a 33% benzo reduction, as I am now, and it's just volume, it's not Xanax. And to me, they're night and day. I don't give a damn if they work in the same way or whatever. It's a night and day type of thing. Um, but that's a good time for questioning your own perceptions of reality, because stuff just does stuff to your body and does stuff to your mind. The withdrawal symptoms. But yeah, I don't know. I just give you guys the facts as I see them, as far as my existence and the things that go on in my existence. And without I did talk to I'll interrupt myself since there's nobody here to do it for me. I did talk to my nephew, and I'm like, you watch my videos? I'm like, how did you even get aware that I have videos on here. I don't even have the guy's email, and he's like, oh, I don't watch all of them. There's like a lot of them now, and I'm probably going to top 300 by the end of January. That's a lot of videos. And he's like, I don't watch all of them, but I watch some of them because he popped up that one day just out of the blue and was like, you want me to help me move that couch? Because I was talking on here about moving a couch. He's like, I was like, so I don't like, that's me. A lot of that's me. It's a lot of that is like my own expectations of people and what I expect out of people. You know, it's like I don't know how to change that. You know what I mean? I don't know how to like when that guy uh, told me all that harsh stuff about his life, and then I expect him to reciprocate. I don't know how to change that. Or like the same thing with uh, the moral support thing, or like honesty. And it's like it makes me sound like a sanctimonious, holier than thou jackass when I talk like that. It's like I actually have to just accept people how they are and not, you know. Norm Macdonald said, "Hope is never good." Not hoping that they'll behave the way that I want them to behave, but just like recognizing them for who they are. And each person is formed by their environment and what they went through. And it's like, I'm just asking myself these questions when I should be sleeping with a cramped up stomach. It's like, am I being too hard on my foster brother? Even though, that thing about forgiving your brother 70 times 7, I think he's exceeded that as far as 70 times 7, as far as forgiving him for various things. So, um, but am I being too hard on him considering what he came from, you know? And it's like, if he came to my door and looked me in the eye and wanted to talk to me, or he called me on the phone, I wouldn't hang up on him. I wouldn't be mean to him. I mean, if somebody shows me that kind of balls, like my father did once when I didn't talk to him for 3 years. He just showed up at my door and he said, Mom wants you to come over for Thanksgiving dinner. And I knew that Mom probably didn't know a damn thing about where he was going and what he was doing. It was like he missed me and he wanted me to come over there, but that's the best he could do. There's no mention of, being gone for 3 years, even though like we're minutes away from each other and a minute drive away from each other. And then I went back for Thanksgiving dinner, and like a damned idiot, I didn't. I was actually remember that, and it's one of my failures in life. Was I was sitting at a table with my mom and my dad, and everybody else had went home, and I had an opportunity to really speak from the heart about stuff, and it's like I failed miserably because I didn't even attempt it. I just kept it all surface nonsense, and that could have been an opportunity to be like the alpha that I think that I was born to be. That I never liked that role. It's kind of hard. I think that I was born to be like an alpha, like a type of leader type of dude. But when you're born into a situation where um, you're dealing with a irrational, very dangerous um, individual as your father, that role does not come natural to you. And yeah, so it's more natural to be like, I don't want any positive attention, I don't want any negative attention, I don't want nobody to notice me because people around here is crazy and dangerous. And yeah, good attention can turn to bad attention. So, yeah, it's probably not why I don't have a Facebook page and post various pictures and stuff in here. I just do it on here as an outlet that to have some kind. Is this my life? Is this the life I'm reduced to? Is this online persona, which is really just me? Just this is the only way I can relate to the world in my current state of physical decrepitude. I don't know. I don't like having all this time. I don't like all that introspection. But that's the question I ask myself: is who's the crazy one here? Are these people that are all around me sane, or is it me just being crazy for expecting people to not be who they are? These people. You know, they had that thing on Saturday Night Live with lowered expectations. It's just like, why don't I just start out just, you know, expect the worst and hope for the best. You know what I mean? Just start out like that. I don't know. But I wanted to make this short, and I wanted to not have those long, thoughtful pauses where I'm trying to figure this crap out in it and make it like more like one of my older videos. Not one of those feet propped up corncob type straw hat type videos. But yeah, I've been sick for a very long time now, which doesn't help. So I my stomach's like all tied up in knots. I don't think this emotional stuff is helping it very much. But yeah, I got violently ill, and I tried to eat. I ate a piece of bread and some 2 graham crackers as an experiment to see what would happen. And I'm drinking a little bit of water. And right now I have to go check on my cat because he wanted to go outside, and then I got sick. And then I left the window open for him this morning when it was, I don't know, 27 degrees. And you can only do that so long before you're actually in the bedroom with the door closed and you can feel cold air coming in even into your bedroom, even though you're sitting beside a heater. So I kept the window open for a couple hours, and I was like, I gotta shut it. So we're not gonna have a white Christmas around here in Northern Ohio, or no Northern Ohio. We got 40s, which I prefer anyways. Since snow and ice are my mortal enemies, since I slip and fall on carpet, I need no added help in that area. Which I feel obligated to tell a story because, I fancy myself a storyteller. But one time I got caught in a pitcher plant of a parking lot. And it's a huge parking lot at this place called Canton Baptist Temple, right by my house. But it's a natural shortcut, but it's a huge black top. And it was empty, and naturally you cut through this long parking lot. The problem is black ice. Somehow I get out into the middle of the parking lot and avoid all the landmines, avoid all the black ice. But once I am in the middle of the parking lot, I cannot figure out how to get out of this pitcher plant. I cannot figure out how to get out of this parking lot without hitting black ice. I'm walking in the dark, and so I fell down 7 times on the asphalt, and I was like frustrated to tears more than hurt by the time I got out of there. I was getting beaten up by a parking lot because I would like try to walk carefully one way, and then I would get up and I would walk in this direction thinking that I would skirt the ice, and I would find new patches of ice to slip and fall on. down. And 7 times down. 7 falls, man, on asphalt. That's when I was young. So even back then in the day, man, snow and ice always had it in for me. So I don't mind not having a white Christmas. And now, after having told you that brief and perhaps not too interesting or well set up story, I will go open the window for my cat and prop it open with a board since it's like a guillotine. And, give him the opportunity to come in. I don't know where the bell is. Maybe I'll ring the bell because he's more or less a house cat now. And I couldn't help it. I got sick last night. Couldn't get out of bed. And did not really care about him all that much, frankly, because it wasn't that cold out, because he got a nice coat of fur, and it's not below 25 degrees. Wind wasn't howling or anything like that. So I didn't feel too bad about it, but I am going to go do that now. See if I did better this time as far as time constraints. A mere 31 minutes. So this should be more perhaps palatable to the ADD crowd and not my usual diehard supporters who I appreciate from the bottom of my heart. And before I start singing a Christmas song or something like that and break the mood, I will just merely wish you adieu.